in the SEC Network. He joins us now on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Mark, I think everybody is seeing what you were talking about back in late November, early December, and that is just how good Dalton Connect is. 11 of 17, 4 of 4 from behind the arc, 29 points, and that's with 9.5 minutes to play.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see it firsthand last Wednesday night at Mississippi State when he single-handedly brought them back in the game. They weren't able to finish the deal because it was too much Tolu Smith and too much Josh Hubbard, and DJ Jeffries was so outstanding on the defensive end. But that's the one thing that I think Connect gives Rick Barnes that he has not had in the last 4 or 5 years, meaning a game is tight, and they're going to go to that high pick and roll, and they're going to let him create. They're going to let him be the decision maker, the scorer, the assist guy. They're going to put the ball in his hands, and more times than not, he's going to deliver. So what that means then, Richard, with 9 minutes to go, did you say 9 minutes to go in the game?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so in the last 3 games, he's gone for 28, 36, and 29 with 9 minutes to go. He is ready for the next level. He will play at the next level.
He is the best offensive player at Tennessee since who? Wow.
Maybe Allen Houston.
Okay.
If you're talking about just pure offense.
And
now,
that's
don't tell Ron
93?
Slay I said that. Okay,
Oh,
don't tell Ron Slay I said that.
Slade knows that's the case. He knows it. Whether he wants to admit it or not is a different thing.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Auburn sitting at 3-0, 14-2 right now, playing at a really, really high level. And yet, I mean, people know who Janai Broome is, know maybe a couple of their other players, but they don't have a roster that's full of household names either.
No, I just had them Saturday against LSU, where they built a 28-point lead and then somehow almost gave it away, if that's believable or not. The game was 28 points with 11 minutes to go, and it was 9 points with 5 minutes to go because LSU went on a 21-2 run. But back to Auburn. They come at you in waves. They got 10 guys who legit play 15 minutes or more. Janai Broome is playing fewer minutes and is more efficient this year. I'll tell you who you're really going to like. I mean, they've got a lot of pieces to the puzzle, but the freshman Aiden Holloway plays with such poise at the point, and he and Donaldson split that, and they both got marvelous assist-to-turnover ratios. Matter of fact, I think it's the first time in his career KD Johnson has a positive to assist-turnover ratio. So, they come at you at ways. They're relentless. They're going to jump at you on ball screens, and they just keep the bodies fresh.
I'm going to see if I can set this up where it makes sense. I'm going to hand you $1,000. I'm going to hand you 10 $100 bills.
Okay.
You have 2 stocks that you will be purchasing with this $1,000. Both of them are trading at $100 per share. The 2 stocks are Ole Miss and South Carolina. How many shares are you buying of each? You have to spend all $1,000.
Yeah, I'm going to buy. That's an easy one for me to answer. I think Ole Miss is significantly better offensively. And with that being said, I like the offense over the defense. So I'm going to put 700. I'm going to take 700 on Ole Miss and 300 on South Carolina. But I've had South Carolina in person. I've had them a couple of times. They're legit in terms of what Cooper gives them at the point, which allows Michi Johnson to play off the ball. B.J. Mack is a tough cover as a stretch 5. So they're significantly better. Ole Miss is significantly better. I think it's two of the reasons why this league is as deep as it's ever been.
So, Mark, something interesting happened on Saturday. South Carolina wins in overtime against Missouri in Columbia. It was a really good win for South Carolina. Michi Johnson had his worst game of the season. And the head coach, Lamont Paris, for South Carolina, you know what he did with Michi Johnson for the last 5 minutes of regulation and for overtime?
Tell me.
He sat him on the bench.
Right.
And he went with the hotter players. He took the best player on his team, who's a top 5 scorer in the SEC, and he put him on the bench. And Michie Johnson didn't pout. He was in the huddle. He was encouraging his teammates. I just thought it was a really fascinating dynamic and not something that I think a lot of coaches would do.
Well, I'm going to give you another example because the LSU comeback that I referenced in the Auburn game at Auburn, what a wonderful environment. I personally think Auburn has the best home court environment in the league. LSU, Matt McMahon sat Jalen Cook with 16 minutes to go in the game, didn't play him again.
Oh, wow.
Now, he'll have to be significantly better tomorrow night against Ole Miss, but he didn't play him, and LSU went on that 21-2 run without him. So, again, when I say our conference has never been better, our players have never been better, they've never been older, but the other part of that, our coaching has never been better.
Yeah, and you really look 1 through 14, and then you think about the other 2 teams that are coming into the league next year. It is it's an incredible group. Mark, what's going on with Arkansas?
Yeah, it's a great dynamic. It's a great question. Here's the one thing I would tell you is Muss has proven over the last 2 or 3 years that he can figure it out. But when he comes out publicly and starts talking about there's some disconnect with teams in the past and this one, Richard, there's a lot of good with the transfer portal, and I also think there's a lot of unknown. And if you get too many guys that are into the portal and you're not able to convince them about the we, and they're much more concerned about the me, then you run into problems.
Yeah, and when Eric Musselman first got to Arkansas, we were hearing the stories of the things that he was doing in the off seasons and these strange rope drills and whatever. And
right.
it takes a little bit, right? I mean, that you've got to buy into the system and play the way that he coaches, and it does not feel like he's getting that buy-in. And look, that was not an inexpensive transfer portal class that Arkansas had. They invested heavily in this roster.
No, there's no question about that. I mean, Khalif Battle is one of those double-figure scorers off the bench, and not everybody has that. So, Trayvon Mark, who's been injured, Brazil is back now. I mean, they have certainly a lot of pieces. Now, I don't think this is his beefiest team or his toughest team in terms of block-to-block, and I think they missed some people. And they've certainly put guys in the pros. I don't know that they have a pro on this roster.
Who's the team from the SEC, Mark, that is most likely to make it to the Final Four?
Oh gosh, you're not going to ask me that, are you?
No, but I'm not going bracketology on you. I'm saying based on what you see from I'll throw them out at you. Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee. Which of those 3 do you like most to make that kind of postseason run?
Well, when in doubt, go with the best player. So I'm going to go with Tennessee and Dalton Connect, who can deliver for them offensively. But ask me again in 5 minutes, I might give you a different answer. I have Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, and Tennessee in some order in Tier 1 of the league. And then in Tier 2, gosh, there's another 5 teams that you can jumble up. So, it's an 18-game, 1 game at a time, and I know that sounds cliche, season. But I think this season you better approach it that way.
Did you have fun with your travel day today?
This is you know the answer to that. This is my second consecutive Tuesday. I didn't land in the Golden Triangle last Tuesday night until after midnight. And today, I couldn't get out of Florida. And today, I couldn't get to Baton Rouge. Flights canceled. So now it's on to New Orleans, and now I'm driving from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. So to answer your question, hell no.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. You're the best, Mark. Safe travels to you.
It's our
Good to catch up.
Life that we lead.
That's right. It's fun when the light goes on, though, and the game actually starts.
It's a passion that I love.
Thank you, Mark.